Gosh, how lucky am I to get to talk about Andy Polansky. So good evening, everyone. And it truly is an honor and a personal joy to be here to introduce Andy. And he is more than just a leader. He is a friend, and he is someone who has made this community so powerful. For more than 3 decades, Andy has been one of the defining leaders in communications. As CEO of Weber Shandwick, and later as chairman of IPG Dextra, he guided global brands through moments of complexity and challenge like they'd never experienced before, although we have experienced them since. While he did that, he shaped Weber Shandwick into one of the most respected agencies in the world. And this leadership resulted in Weber Shandwick being named Agency of the Year many times. In fact, we were so honored to be named Agency of the Decade. But for Andy, it was never about the trophies. It was always about the people. And when I think of Andy, I think of collaboration, because he set as a business strategy to build work together. While some agencies may see internal competition as a way to get to growth, Andy believed that bringing together diverse perspectives led to the best ideas for our clients. So he cultivated the expectation that we wouldn't just support each other, but that we'd actively build shared business together. And that mindset became foundational to Weber Shandwick. It became foundational with our partners across Dextra, at Golan, and for me, it became foundational in who I am as a leader. Andy has always been someone who makes time for others. He offered me time tonight. He will ask the questions that shows he's truly listening, and who gives advice that stays with you long after the conversation ends. And that style of leadership is what PAGE stands for: integrity, truth, and the power of communications to build trust. Andy embodies those values. So Andy, thank you for all you have done for me, for so many of our colleagues and clients, and of course, for the industry overall. So congratulations to Andy, and back to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Susie. So Gary Sheffer nominated Andy and skillfully summarized his testimonial about Andy's career. He brought the highest level of integrity to his work and backed up everything he said with action.
Great.
Like many of you, I experienced these attributes in action as a client of Andy. You truly define trusted advisor. It is my pleasure to welcome our 2025 inductee into the PAGE Hall of Fame, a remarkable colleague, and a pretty fine boat captain, too, Andy Polansky.
Like he is. I don't want to do this.
Well, good evening, and thanks so much for that kind introduction, both Kelly and Susan. One of the things that you plan for and hope for after spending so many years, and it was so many years of my working life with the same firm, is that when you retire, you have great people like Susan leading the company forward with integrity and a fresh vision. I'm delighted that you're now at the helm, Susan, and I'm sure we'll continue to see Weber Shandwick and its people continue to thrive in the years ahead. Thanks as well to Rochelle Ford Kelly Parsons and the Page Board and the Page Honors and Awards Committee for this recognition. I feel truly honored to be counted among all the distinguished previous recipients whom I greatly admire. I'd also like to congratulate tonight's other honoree, Ken Makowski. I've long respected Ken, his firm, and his impact on the industry. So thank you, Ken. One of the many things that has always resonated with me about the Page community, beyond sharing best practices and being inspired by the enormous talent represented here, is that we often forge close relationships that transcend the industry. And those relationships have certainly enriched my life. And it's nice to see so many of my Weber Shandwick, IPG colleagues, industry friends, and client partners in the room tonight. And I'd like to give a shout out to my good friends, Ellen Ryan Mardix, Chair of Golan, and former CEO Fred Cook. I'm very proud of everything they, Matt, Gary, and the Golan team have accomplished, and I really valued the time we spent together at IPG. My most important person in this room, and every room, is my wife, Maria. So more than 40 years ago, as a college sophomore at what was then Trenton State College, it's now the College of New Jersey, I met Maria Grasso, and I knew immediately that I hit the jackpot. 7 years later, we got married, and we went on to have two awesome sons, Jason and Steven, and they're married to two amazing women, Charlotte and Lauren. And now we have a new member of the Polansky Hall of Fame. Our granddaughter Maggie was born a month ago. Pretty cool. I hit the jackpot in my professional life as well. I had the honor of working alongside a number of Weber Shandwick leaders and industry greats, including my longtime partners Harris Diamond, Jack Leslie, and Gail Hyman. Together with them and so many others, we built a firm that attracted and retained many of the brightest and creative minds in the industry. We had the aspiration of being the best, and we worked hard to make that happen. But we also had a lot of fun along the way, and I have some fun memories, certainly, of all the time we spent traveling together. And a lot of moments stand out. I'll just mention a couple. I still laugh out loud, for example, about walking the cobblestone streets of Cannes during the International Festival of Creativity with Gail in her very high heels. So picture that, cobblestone street. Yeah. Or there were the many times that I had long and I could tell you, very unproductive debates with Harris Diamond about lots of things, but including whether our young creatives could wear jeans to the office. There were mind-blowing moments as well, like the time Nelson Mandela asked me what he should say to the audience at a factory opening in Cape Town. In that moment, it was pretty clear to me that sometimes the best advice to give someone is to simply say, "I think you got this." I never thought I'd build a career in the PR business, going all the way back to my elementary days as sports editor of the Pee Wee Post. I wanted to be a journalist. And after college, I did start my career in the journalism world. But following a few brief stints with newspapers, I left my Pulitzer Prize dream behind and joined a New York City public relations firm then known as Bozell and Jacobs Public Relations as an assistant account executive. I knew very little about the PR industry, and it showed. I had quite the first few months. For one of my earliest case history projects, I went underground into a coal mine to document how equipment was being utilized to stabilize the roof. I showed up in a three-piece suit. The coal miners on site that day were laughing so hard about what I was wearing, I barely got through the interviews. My first big press conference was for a lighting company introducing new compact fluorescent bulbs. I thought we were all set for a successful event. We even had one of the actors from the Gilligan's Island TV show slated to attend. Big draw. It was Ginger, in case you're wondering. Nobody showed up. But I did a great job stuffing the press kits. While these can be career-defining moments for some, perhaps in all the wrong ways, I started to get my footing and gain new responsibilities. And during that time and for the following 2 decades, I had the opportunity to work closely with Dick Johnson, the senior communications lead at Ingersoll Rand. Our relationship had a transformative impact on my career. Yes, I learned a lot about our craft, but what really struck me about observing how Dick worked with people and advised his executive leadership as a senior communications officer. He was an active listener, a compelling storyteller, an empathetic leader, and those were all qualities that resonated with me and that I tried to emulate throughout my career. In fact, through all my experiences, telling the truth, proving it with action, listening to stakeholders, managing for tomorrow, in fact, all of the Page principles always served as a clear guidepost for how to advise the companies we represented and how to lead our firm. The Page principles were a centering force, informing how and what it takes to solve problems for clients and how to support our teams that create the ideas that bring our important work to life. How we do what we do is paramount. Weber Shandwick became an industry-leading firm focusing on the how. We built a collaborative culture that we nurtured over time. It's what made us different. It's why our people joined the firm and stayed with the firm, and it's what attracted many clients to work with us. Our collective focus on how we do what we do and how we made people feel about working at the firm, that was the foundation for our success. And I'm proud that we've had a positive impact on thousands of people's careers. Many of those individuals have risen into top agency positions and into CCO roles at major organizations around the world. The talent in this room is extraordinarily impressive. Your voices in the boardroom and the C-suite, providing leadership and advising leadership on how to navigate risk and how to engage stakeholders with strikingly different views are critical in these polarized times. Embracing our role, guiding leaders in building or rebuilding trust has never been more important. As we tackle those challenges, we need new voices. We need to focus on how to develop our future leaders. Most of my time these days is spent with young people, offering advice about their careers. And I would encourage all of you to spend a good chunk of your time engaging with young professionals. They can bring fresh thinking and healthy perspective. Many of them have not had the experience of working in offices, so they don't always have face-to-face access to potential mentors. They worry about missing opportunities to gain experience, to learn, and to lead. They worry that AI adoption will result in fewer positions for professionals early in their careers. And they worry that some environments have become less inclusive. I believe strongly that organizations should, as a priority, stay true to their values and continue to focus on DEI and take meaningful steps to create more diverse and inclusive environments for all. Embracing different points of view not only gets us toward establishing more trust and common ground, it also leads to business success. Arthur Page reminds us we must manage for tomorrow. And with that, and in the spirit of paying it forward, I'm pleased to be working with the Page team to establish a scholarship to support and further develop Page's Future Leaders Experience programs. These Page professional development programs prepare our industry's next generation of leaders and at the same time have the important goal of increasing diversity in the industry. In closing, I'm thankful, very thankful, to have had the opportunity to meet and partner with so many extraordinary people, reminding me always how fortunate and proud I am to work in this profession. Thank you again for this wonderful honor. Thank you.